Watch him. Watch him. Watch him. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Gun! Watch him. Watch him. Watch him. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Gun!
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Everyday Carry for Everyday Guys. So this is going to be my much anticipated review of the low light, no light course that I did with SA Tactical Institute and Fundikhomo Training Consultants. For the guys at Fundikhomo, if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, I do apologize. This is how it's spelled down below. I'm going to be pronouncing it like that for the remainder of the video, so if it isn't correct, I do apologize. So, as I said, it's going to be my review. You're going to see a lot of video from the actual course. I'm going to give you my opinions on it. Remember, everything on this channel is an opinion, nothing is a recommendation. And let's just get straight into it. So I've made my course notes, as I always do with all the courses I do and the videos and things like that. So I'm going to be looking down from time to time just to make sure I don't miss out on anything. The first thing I'll talk about is this course is built as an advanced course. I asked Dean and Ridwan from Fundikhomo and SA Tactical Institute respectively. I'm going to forego surnames in this video for the sake of anonymity. I asked them, what level course is this? And they said this is an advanced level course. And
head over center. I'm fighting. I'm not playing games here.
A lot of people have asked me, how do they know they're ready for an advanced level course? And the best way I can describe it is like this. When you learned to drive, just at the beginning, a lot was going on. Your mind was almost filled with the concepts of driving, clutch control, changing gears, indicator, rear view mirror, all those things, right? And it was so full of that you probably couldn't even have a conversation or listen to music or that sort of thing. And as you got better at it, you could start doing other things. You almost drove at the subconscious level whilst maintaining a respect and reverence for the fact that you are piloting a deadly vehicle. You could do it in such a way where you could have a conversation with someone sitting next to you, or you could listen to music or whatever the case may be, to a point where experienced drivers like myself, it's almost completely subconscious. I'm only really focusing on the safety aspects of driving, but the actual mechanics of driving are just subconscious to me, right? You kind of need to be able to run your firearm like that. If you are at the range and you can tap rack drill and you can fire multiple shots, so you've got the concept of grip and throttle control. You can shoot with one hand. You can draw your firearm and shoot it. You can maintain safe muzzle direction. If you can do that on almost a subconscious level, then you would be ready for this sort of course.
Now I want you to listen to the process. You are only permitted to fire the gun. You understand? Yes.
Yes,
right,
sir.
Here we go. You ready there, Al? Ready. Watch him. Watch him. Watch him. Watch him. Watch him. Watch him. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Gun! Watch this guy. Watch him. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Gun! Watch him, guys. Watch this guy. Watch him. Watch him. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Gun!
And the reason I say that is because this is a kind of course that's going to give you a lot of extra things to think about. Because most of the time you're going to be shooting one-handed. Most of the time you're going to be activating a flashlight. The flashlight I used, by the way, for those interested, is the PowerTac Valor. Very, very nice flashlight. I really like it. And so, how to know you're ready for this kind of course is understand that you're going to need to know how to run your firearm. Okay? And it's almost you're going to have to be very comfortable with it. If you're still at the point where you're a bit skittish about your draw stroke, where your grip isn't where it should be, where you have never ran a tap rack drill, you've never shot with one hand, that sort of thing, then maybe you're not just where you should be for this course. And there's no disrespect, and it's very important you understand that. It's not an ego game. It's a safety game, because there is a degree of movement introduced into this course. So That's kind of where your mind wants to be with regards to where you are, whether or not you're ready for an advanced level course. Another thing to consider is you're going to be running a flashlight. So now you're expected to press two buttons, right, independently of each other, while aiming, while getting acceptable sight picture, etc., etc. And they introduce movement as well. So that's what I'm talking about. You need to be able to run your firearm safely. And I don't know if this is the right way to put it. Run your firearm safely almost at the subconscious level. I'm at a point where I can draw my firearm, present, and shoot, and I don't really need to think that much about what I'm doing. I use that thought time to think about whether I should be drawing my firearm, aiming and shooting, right? I'm looking at my threat and I'm ascertaining whether or not this is a deadly threat. Is it imminent? I'm almost running through all the legal implications in my mind while I'm doing it, because my draw stroke, I've repeated it so many times that it's at the subconscious level.
Because we are gearing up for that fight of our life. What happens when blood dissipates or moves from our extremities to the core? We start to tremble, okay? I don't have feeling in my fingers. So things, for example, like pressing a holding open device or a slide stop lever become almost near impossible. And that's why when you train with myself and Ridwan, we do not teach the pressing of a holding open device or slide stop lever. We prefer to teach you a gross motor skill, which is to pull the slide to the rear and slingshot it and let it go forward on its own. Why do we also teach that technique? Is because we teach transferable methodology. If I'm teaching you to use a pistol in a specific way, it's the same way you're going to use a hand machine carbine or a submachine gun or an assault rifle. So I don't have to teach you a whole new cool system. One thing. And if I know that one thing really well, I'll be able to do it when my life is on the line. Make sense? Around the corner, the technique might need to be modified slightly, that it's not out here as per textbook. It comes back slightly to see around the corner, minimizing myself to my opponents around a corner, around a car, in a building. Okay? It might need to come down to over here where I'm looking underneath my bed or underneath an object in my home or an office block or in the car park where I need to look under my car to see if there's feet on the other side of the car. It's also a technique where I take the torch and I actually cheek index it on the opposite side, which is what we're going to do tonight. Okay. So I might go down and around the object to see around an object that's on the left hand of Guys got that?
Now, one of the things I really liked about Dean and the way he instructs, as well as Ridwan and the way Ridwan instructs, is they have a lot of theory behind their practical. I really like that. Theory for me engages my brain, and I like it because it allows me to relate to the course beyond the physical, right? Beyond the physical requirement of shooting a firearm. It allows me to think. And one of the things you'll notice, anyone who ever does a course with me, and as I become more popular, that sounds so weird to say, people will start recognizing me on these courses. You'll kind of always see, I'm always the last person or the slowest person on the course. The reason for that is I like to really apply my mind to what I'm doing when I'm on a course. I like to think through everything so that I do it perfectly. And my methodology behind that comes from my Gracie Jiu-Jitsu days. Doing something slowly and perfectly, repetitively, a speed will become a byproduct. So I can do something slowly in the beginning as long as I do it properly. And the more I do it, the faster at it I'll become. But if I do something fast in the beginning incorrectly, no matter how many times I do it, I won't do it correctly. Speed doesn't breed correctness or correctness in technique, but correctness in technique will breed speed. So when I get the opportunity to be amongst professionals like that, I tend to really just slow down and try to do the things I'm not that good at so that they can point out my inefficiencies. Because that's really the point of it. There's no point going to a training course and doing what you are good at, because you're not really going to get the opportunity to learn from the instructor's experience. Now, I do want to just talk about handheld flashlights versus weapon-mounted lights. Now, weapon-mounted lights are advantageous and recommended. Handheld flashlights, in my opinion, are mandatory. After a course like this, you can do 80 to 90% of the things that your weapon-mounted light can do with a handheld flashlight. But there's never going to be a time when you can do with your weapon-mounted light all the things you can do with a handheld flashlight. Beyond just defensive application, administrative tasks, okay, it's not just a matter of, oh, I don't go out at night when a flashlight becomes useful. Going from a well-lit area to a dark area, if you are walking and you're walking down an alley and there's a tall building, on the sun's side of that alley, right? The shadows, especially by how bright it is that day, will seem darker. Okay, so having a handheld flashlight to diffuse that darkness is valuable. You can't just take out your firearm and be pointing it anywhere with the weapon-mounted light on it. So I really do recommend invest in a decent handheld flashlight. The guys in the course really recommend jet beam. I haven't had the opportunity to get my hands on any jet beam flashlights, but I am really keen to have a look at them, because guys like Dean and Redwan, just a bit of background, these guys are not people who learned these things from books. They are people who have been in the field. Their resume is, I'm not going to give it to you because I don't know how comfortable they are with it, but I'll put it this way. They actually did the things they spoke about. So when they talk about the things that they talk about, they're talking about it from first-hand experience. I lost my train of thought. Handheld flashlights, definitely invest. Oh, I was talking about jet beam. They really like jet beam, and I can't remember the owner's name. I do apologize to you, Mr. Jet Beam in South Africa. But they really said I should reach out to Jet Beam, because the owner or the main importer really supports the firearm community, which I'm down for. So he's like already 10 steps ahead in my book. But the Jet Beam flashlights on that course really seem to do well.
Watch your hands. Go! Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Go! Watch his hands! Go!
Now, something I do have to talk about is movement. And Dean, I was very fortunate to speak to Dean one-on-one about this, and he said his training methods make him very unpopular, or controversial, excuse me. And that was interesting that he said that, because I found, in my opinion, his training methods were extremely real world orientated, which is what I want. You know, if I go on a course like that, to be fair, if I went on a course like that again, I would want Dean to be the instructor, Dean and Redwan, because they taught movement that was real world related, not range related. Meaning, there's times in life where you may have to do a 180-degree turn with your firearm in hand and get out of a situation. For example, range rules teaches us that when you want to move rearwards, you walk backwards. And I understand that, and I understand the methodology behind that on the shooting range. But real life, for example, if you are faced with an enemy in front of you and you are outgunned and you need to get to a place of cover or concealment or both.
Ready? Get out! Right, what's going to happen now is we're going to be leaving again. Now we're going to put the piece of the puzzle together, and I'm going to police you. If I see one of you doing something wrong, I'm going to pick you out. Is that fair? All men, yeah? Yeah. Okay? Right. Orange! Red! Blue! Orange!
I would, in my personal opinion, want to be able to 180 and run my ass to cover, and then 180 and reevaluate. Similarly, if you are in a situation where you are engaged from the front and then simultaneously engage from the rear, you're going to have to get eyes on the situation and make a interpretation or decision on what is the greater threat and how you plan to proceed. Not training to turn around with a gun in your hand leaves a massive gap in your training cycle, because most of the times if you're ever in a situation where you are in a life or death gunfight, it's not going to be on a shooting range. It's going to be in a public mall, it's going to be in a parking lot, it's going to be, it's going to be at a convenience store, at a gas station where there are other people. So you are going to have to learn to turn around with your gun in your hand, do it safely so that you don't endanger other people. Dean taught that brilliantly. And this is another thing about the advanced course. There's not that much tolerance for unsafe weapon handling. And when I say not that much, I mean almost zero. Like, if you're still at the point where your trigger finger isn't under 100% control or that sort of thing, this might not be the place to be, because you are going to be doing 180 degree and you're going to be running, right? So we were able to do it with training pistols, and then we did it in the dark for real. The techniques we ran were the Harry's, FBI and cheek index technique. I arrived a bit late. Fortunately, I knew those techniques, so I was able to do it without much instruction, but they were taught on the course.
3 rounds FBI technique at your own target, your own time. Fire! Fire! The Harry's technique. Ready! Fire!
And as I said earlier, my methodology behind these things is to be super slow and super methodical so that I can make sure I'm doing it perfectly. And this is a good example of what I'm talking about, where there's a lot going on and you need to not just be concentrating on pulling the trigger. So as you saw from that video, the mental stuff happening on the side and the physical stuff happening in the middle, it's a lot. Now I do want to talk about the tools. Having a flashlight with good control over that momentary on is important, and never more so on this course. Through some of the footage you might have heard that, there's this clicking sound next to me. The guy next to me didn't have a momentary on capability, so he had to click his flashlight on and off, and that was a real it struck me as a real inefficiency of his equipment. Now, you can outperform your equipment, but your equipment can't outperform your training. So he worked with it and he made it work. But we did something called painting with light. And the theory behind it is that in a dark room, right, if you swept your flashlight upwards like that, and obviously you looked where you're sweeping or painting, it would burn that image into your mind for a few seconds. So if you saw a doorway, your mind would know more or less that doorway is about 3 feet away if you just do that, right? Which means you can illuminate and move with a relative security of where it is. And I must be honest, it really did work. So have a look at this.
Under control. I'm going to call blue. You're going to slowly walk forward, paint with light. When you get to the blue line, you stop. I will then give you the command to fire. Do not fire until I tell you to fire. You all understand that?
Yes, sir.
Right, here we go. Ready? Blue! Fire! Blue line. Fire! Blue line.
lights off once you fire it. Fingers off the triggers. Work with me. Red line! On red. That means guns back on target. On red. Blue line! Move! Fire! Right, we're going to run it again. The next run that we come to the front here, to the blue line, what's going to happen is I'm going to move you, instead of just standing, I would like you to fire and then move into a kneeling position. So now we know that we do not only have forward and rearward movement, we also have vertical movement. You guys are aware? Right, this is how we're going to work. Tempo index. Red line. Where are you standing in relation to people around you? Look left, look right. On red. That means the gun's pointed out. Blue line! Go! Fire! Right into a kneeling position.
So it really does work, and that's something I never thought of. Now, I just want to add, it's not okay to do that. Right? It's always got to go upwards, because, or forwards, shall I say, not upwards. You can't do this, because then you're basically painting towards yourself and you're effectively making yourself a target. You want to go from the ground away from you, so you paint that way. That way, but I'm just not pointing at the camera. You get what I'm saying. So painting with light really does work. And in those images, or that little bit you saw, that is where we were working with the light, with the firearm at night. We were, at points we had to move backwards, which is where we would turn around and come back. And again, like I say, this is where that course is not for beginners. And to be fair, everything we did at night, we did during the day. So Dean and the guys could assess and see who was and who was not comfortable. Fortunately, all the guys that were there were a lot of active guys. I do apologize for all the blurring that you see. Obviously, those guys are currently active, so they need to be protected. A lot of police, a lot of tactical guys. So I'm not going to talk too much about who these people were, but they were not untrained. I'll put it that way. And the nice part of it is, all these guys had like plate carriers and everything, and I felt like I represented the EDC community, because there were one or two guys like myself who were just in completely plain clothes, you know. And it was nice that the EDC community was also represented there, because at the end of the day, remember, the first person at the scene of the crime is the potential victim. So, you know, you've got to be able to respond to your own potential crime first. And that's why I was glad that there were a few EDCers like myself. Or maybe they were just plain clothes police, I don't know. But I definitely represented the EDC community in my Urban Warrior t-shirt and Urban Warrior, I think it was the recon pants. Another thing you learn on a course like that is, you know, everyone press checks, they take the firearm and they pull the slide back and they look at the round that's chambered and all that's good. What happens when it's dark? You know, little things like that you don't think matters. When you go on a course like this and you do it with experienced guys, these things matter. Tactical reloads, or proactive reloads as they call it. Basically, a tactical reload is where you drop a mag, but you don't drop that. It's not a speed reload. You stow that mag and you replace it with a full mag. Now, I did a video about that a while ago, and someone asked, why would you ever do a tactical reload? The thing is, right, most times you would do a speed reload. At least I think so. If you had a malfunction, whatever the case may be, right? And actually, no. So let me take that back. Even if you had a malfunction, you'd kind of want to do a tactical reload. You want to keep that mag. A speed reload is where you drop the mag and it falls on the floor and it's done. And think about it this way. If it's you and your partner, you and the missus, let's say you being a guy and your partner being the missus, and you have a Glock and she has a M&P shield, right? And whatever is happening, you guys are in a shootout, I don't know what the case is, and you shoot, and you decide you're going to do a reload because you want to make sure you have a full mag, so you reload, shoot, and now you're out of rounds, and you drop your mag and everything, and you're out of rounds, want to do another reload in the heat of the moment, and you've got no more mags. So you go to the missus and you say, I need ammo. She might have ammo, but you might not have mags. right? And Dean actually described this to us. He was actually in a real life situation where his partner, in the heat of the moment, and they were in, remember, this isn't, imagine being in an informal settlement. There are no lights, it's pitch black, and you're chasing someone down, and you're shooting, and you're dropping mags like crazy. You get to a moment where you can top off your mag, and all of a sudden your partner is out of ammo, but he's also out of mags, right? So you might have had a malfunction that required you to switch out your mag. Keep that mag, because you might need it again. And these are the little things that Dean teaches and Ridwan teach that you're really not going to get anywhere else but on these kinds of courses. And I don't want to go too long in this video, but I mean, there's tons of little pearls of wisdom that they give you that is far beyond the understanding of someone who hasn't done a course like this.
Be very careful that you fall prey to going and watching something on YouTube that's trained by someone who's never been in combat. When you take a magazine out of a pistol, you're going to be shaking. You're going to be shaking with that gun. Somebody's just trying to kill you. If you go for the spare magazine, and I'm swapping those magazines over, and you happen to drop those magazines, which one is the one that's fully loaded? I've been on course overseas. They all feel loaded. I don't know to what capacity they're loaded. I just don't know. I've been overseas on course where I've been a student on course and the instructor tells me you pick up the heavier of the two. You're not going to be able to differentiate weight because you've got no dexterity, no feeling in your hands. You've lost, it's diminished. So just be careful of that.
And then lastly, guys, one thing I do want to talk about is gross motor function. So most of the time when we're on a shooting range, it's warm, it's comfortable. If it's indoors, it's air conditioned, it's great, it's well lit, it's awesome. This is a situation where you're on a shooting range, it's cold, it is really cold. It's dark, it's loud, there's flashing lights going on, it's crazy. Dean and Ridwan teach gross motor function. When you do a reload, it is you rack that slide because it's a gross motor function, it's a dumb motor function. And I truly understood the value of it there because it's so cold that the tips of your fingers start becoming numb, right? So to go for the slide lock lever and things like that, and that's just the cold, right? That's not even the stress factor. I'm not even getting to the stress factor of your life has just been put in danger if it was a real life situation. So I now, in my life, I don't think I will ever train to go for a slide lock lever or something small like that. I'm always going to be power stroking, and I'm always going to be going for the dumb, gross motor function. It's also where your tools come into play. You want a flashlight with a button at the back, easily locatable. That button is on the back today, tomorrow. It's exactly where it should be every single time. You can't not find the button, right? So get tools that allow you to be an idiot. And what I mean by it is you are going to be overwhelmed, in my opinion, in real life. You don't want to be thinking about how to run your tools as well. So get tools, train with your tools, become become unnecessarily proficient with your tools so that when the moment comes and you have to use it, it's like driving, where everything you're doing is safely at the subconscious level and you can pay attention to the situations happening in front of you and you can run your gear as you should. I just want to talk finally about the types of shooting techniques we used. The FBI is the FBI, the cheek is the cheek. But just one thing about the Harris, people have asked me, everyone on the course was great at it, but the Harris is not this, right? You've got to get kinetic pressure sort of back palm to back palm, and it really makes a difference, right? So Harry's technique, you see what I'm saying? Or at least something similar, because this kinetic pressure here, driving that way, helps with recoil control, in my opinion. So even though this looks really cool in movies, and it really does look cool, right? That's actually where you want to be, in my opinion. So use that, don't use it. I want to say a massive thank you to the guys at SA Tactical Institute. I want to say a massive thank you to Dean from, gosh, I've got to check out this Fundikhomo Training Solutions. Dean, I'm sorry that I'm struggling with the name of your academy. I think the only solution to that is that I get to do more of your courses so that I can learn it better. Thank you to all the guys, especially to those guys, for allowing me to do that course. Good luck to all of the guys who were on the course. I think they all performed outstandingly. And it does sort of give you heart that there are people out there who take the protection and the protection of their family and loved ones that seriously. I rolled in B-roll very sporadically here because I just wanted to keep everybody guessing and like just chuck it in harshly, kind of like as a metaphor for the course. So I hope you enjoyed that way of me doing it. And that's it, guys. I will see you. I'm going to see you later on today, actually, probably at 8 o'clock tonight if you're watching this on date of release, at time of release, which is Sunday, what is it, the 12th? Sunday the 13th at 6. I'm going to be seeing you guys at 8 o'clock again because I'm going to do another Christmas video because a couple of companies are having Christmas specials. And this is the last week before Christmas. I'm doing another Christmas video to let you guys know what's happening with that. So I will see you guys in a little bit for some more gear related stuff. Please stay tuned. Please check it out. I'll see you soon. Be safe. Train hard. Cheers. God bless.